Hello, family. Good afternoon to you. It's officially the afternoon, of course, and I'm excited to be on radio. I don't know, today the hype is just pretty much different. I don't know if I'm having sugar rush, but whatever it is, I'm very excited to be with you guys here. It's 12:15, and it's the nation's capital. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and it is your radio experience you can count on. For the longest, this particular segment of the show has been quite dormant, as in make himself MIA. He went owl, or how do they say it? But he decided to show his face today. So yes, guys, we've got Bright Young in the studio.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem. Aesthetics. You're feeling the aesthetics of this. I said, let's ring the bell. That's why you're the timekeeper, girl. Now, Bright Young is in the studio with us, and we're pretty excited to have him yet again. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Good afternoon. How is everybody doing?
Why did you make yourself look like this? Like here? Why did you bring me so down?
Lower.
Yeah, it's lower.
Okay.
Yes. And how have you been?
It's lower now.
How have you been?
I'm good.
Oh, right. What's been going on? Why did you abandon us?
Well, so many things. Work.
All right, it's good to have you join us in the studio. And guys, anytime we have Bright Young in the studio is always a banger, because so much value. We'll be listening to everything we will be saying here today. I don't want to say I miss him, but maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
I miss you too.
Anyways, today's topic is one that is pretty much important to have, seeing as a lot of people want to model themselves to look like other people, and in a country where so many things are going on and information is just a second away from you through the internet and all of these things that are being made available, it's important to know exactly who you are, so much so that you don't lose your originality. There are times when you see people and you admire who they are and what they have become and what you think that they have right now. So we're having this conversation to let you know that you are you. I am me, and that's the most powerful thing that we have, because nobody can take our originality away from us. Now, anybody can bear the name Martha, but not everybody can be Martha. I am unique in my own way. Bright is unique in his own way, and Chizo is just here, unique in her own way. So yes, the topic for today is understanding your uniqueness. So Bright, tell us about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, I must say. Understanding your uniqueness. And let's start with the fact that uniqueness is not just about you being different from every other person.
Yeah.
It's about you understanding that you are created specifically to fit a particular audience.
Thank you.
You're not created for everybody. You're not created to everybody. You're not created to, solve every kind of problem. You're not created to be every kind of thing to everybody. So uniqueness basically it has a taste of being distinctively similar, in the sense that you can have people of the same kind but different capacities, different races. Now, you get to understand your uniqueness when you really look into yourself. It's more like looking inwards and then appreciating the fact that I am me and I don't have to be somebody else.
Yeah.
So the error what we make a lot of times is that we come, like some people say, okay, we define ourselves from what we do, and we try to get our uniqueness from what we do. But uniqueness doesn't have anything to do with what you do. It's actually who you are.
Yeah.
So it's the flavor you bring from who you are that affects what you do. So a lot of people would say, I want to be unique, but then you go, I want to be a very great footballer, but then you find out that you are great footballers as well. Or that there are other footballers, and then you're wondering, how is it that I'm going to make a difference as a footballer? You need to know that your uniqueness is you sticking to who you are, sticking to what you're supposed to be doing. It has a lot it has a lot of things to say about purpose. It has a lot of things to say about why you're here.
Values.
So you're designed. That's what we call designer's original.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's more like you've been created specifically. You've been designed to meet a particular need. And if you're now trying to be like somebody else, or if you're trying to connect with somebody else, what you saw, validation now is making a lot of people become so many things just to see if we can become. Somebody was saying that, we're in the content generation, so the average person has to create content.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not creating content, it feels like you're not surviving. But the truth is, the content that you create, is it the content that you are, or the content that you find to be selling? Because you can create a content that is not you, so when it begins to sell and there is demand on you, because they're not demanding the content,
it's you
that they're demanding. So when there is a demand on you, can you be able to deliver? Can there be delivery, or we'll have a shortage of delivery because you have to go and see more contents that are original for you to copy what they are doing to become? So that's what it is.
And this is it. Last week we had a conversation here, and we're talking about what success meant to you as a person. And then I shared it many times here, talking about the fact, just last week, and I talked about the fact that oftentimes what we describe as success are parameters that other people have set for us. So to this person, success means just being up to trend, getting the latest phones and the gadgets and everything. But there's some other person who feels like, I'm not successful until I'm able to reach out to a number of people. So a lot of people pressurize you into their box.
There's definition of success.
So no matter how much you have achieved in your purpose, in fulfilling your purpose, you feel as though you are not doing anything because you're looking at other people's parameters. And the example I used the other day was, do I take someone else's measurement to sew my clothes? It's highly impossible. There's an error. So even if they succeed in making the outfit, it doesn't fit me because that's someone else's outfit. That's someone else's measurement. So I use my measurement to sew my outfit. That way it can fit. So someone whose purpose is different from what your purpose is, you cannot be using that person's success as a parameter to judge your own success. And by the way, a lot of you might be advanced in age, but we are so much in a hurry. We just want to, someone is getting the latest bags, getting the latest shoes, and this is a testament of many years of hard work. But we as young people see this person having all of those things, and immediately we have hypertension. We want to start saving up to get those things. Meanwhile, that person had to work a number of years before they got to a point or a realization that, okay, I can now spend this amount of money because I have worked enough to have so much in my reserve. That is how uniqueness is. I feel nobody, that's your superpower. That's your superpower.
I was thinking while I was coming, I was just kind of reflecting, and I get to do that a lot. And I realized that your value system is around the areas of your uniqueness.
Of course.
So your value as a person, there's a value system, and then there is a value. Your value is always channeled to your uniqueness, which means if I do not find my uniqueness, then I cannot find my value.
Of course.
People are going to value you on the basis of your exertion of your uniqueness. If you're not unique enough, then they're not going to find you valuable. In other words, if you're easy to be replaced, then it means that you're not unique. The difficulty that people have to go through in finding someone to replace you would mean that you found yourself and you're irreplaceable. Yes, that's exactly why we're on the earth. Because if it was easy for people to, to find a replacement of you, then it would have made it very easy for people to actually be you. In other words, they can easily discard you. So they can say, okay, we're not getting this person, we're not getting the value, what can we do? In fact, there are people that AI can replace. And if I thought when they were talking about AI and all that, and I was like, wow, thank God for uniqueness, thank God for delivery, the ability to find.
There's some people that AI cannot
replace, no matter how they try. So these are the things that brings you to a point where you now realize that there is glory in your uniqueness. In fact, where glory of a person is in this uniqueness, because there's that one thing that God has created everybody with. I think I've said it in many of our conversations. It also boils down where we're talking about identity crisis and all of those things. Now, I've said it a couple of times that you as an individual, God didn't create you and give you money. He didn't give you anything. He just put you. It's more like you're a treasure chest. So there are certain things in you that if you do not stir them out, you will not even know the value of what you have. Now, here is the case. The beautiful thing is that God had to put all of that in an individual, so that when this individual is born, nobody's taking out what they came with. Imagine if somebody is born with, let's say, 50 million, 100 millions, or billions, and all that, and they have to come with it. As babies, even the parents may even have squandered or spent
all the money before
before the child come to that age of maturity where he cannot request and ask for, this is what I've been given. Now, in that case, it means that there is something around you or about you that makes you you.
Of course.
Okay, that is not about what you schooled, where you go to school, because the dysfunction we find these days is that people try to measure themselves based on their certificates, and the certificate is going to speak over many years. I mean, there is evolvement, there is development, and the certificate that you have since 1999, you're still defining yourself from 1999
as that,
and we're in 2023, so you're defining yourself from what you had before many years ago, and all of those things have brought people into a place of, you know what, they said I'm a third class student, so that person has a mindset that, he is third class, and you begin to act in those ways. You respond to that, and these are things that are written in papers. I know that they are very serious, they are very relevant, they are very important. But then we have to find a balance to this. This was what you were able to capture. It's like a picture. When you snap a picture, you trapped a moment, you trapped a season, you trapped a time. But that time has I start defining myself from what I look like in 2021 or what I look like in 2020 or 2001. Then I'm limited because the people who got me at that point are now getting a higher version of me.
Of you.
All right. Yeah. And that means that if I keep developing me to become more, it's actually who we become that people find valuable, not necessarily what you do become or what you do. Yeah.
And this is a very important conversation. Like, if you understand how unique you are, you'd never that's a time in my life I didn't know what I was capable of doing. So if you're telling me you don't even know how to do this, I'll agree with you, because I don't even know, I have not met myself, so anything you tell me goes.
Feels like it.
But the day I realized what my abilities were, I leveraged on that knowledge, and I started to veer for positions that on a normal day I would never think about. But you see, a lot of us do not. Have you seen situations where there's a maybe a second class graduate, and then there's a third class, or even a first class graduate, and then there's a third class graduate? Now, the first class graduate is smart book-wise, the questions you ask, they know. But the third class graduate is a awesome, because they know the streets, they know the books.
Yes.
So you would pick that person over a first class graduate. Most times people like that are quite robotic. It's book we're studying, and I'm not saying it's not good, that's not the point. That is value. But what we consider an infinity value is what is in us and what we're capable of doing with what we learn. So the first class graduate is not like a garbage in, garbage out. Now, you thought me, I'm able to put that, but you see the third class graduate is able to practicalize that which he has learned. Before now, I didn't agree that there are people who would never go to school and still make it, but trust me when I say that there are people who would not go to school and still make it out of this life. Because they have skin, these market women, multiplication table. Trust me when I tell you that I would not get to the fifth question. These women did not go to school, but they have mastered the art of money and calculation, that when you ask them this question, it takes them a few seconds and their head already gives you the answer, because this is what they deal with every single day. That's what they're unique at. If you force such a person to go to school, they might never make it out of that school. But you know what their uniqueness is, and so you deal with them based on who they are. So I find it funny that a lot of us are unique in our own way, but we try to fit into the box so that we are, how do I put it, so that we can belong.
The belonging.
Why do you feel a need to belong?
You see, it's pressure, it's societal pressure, peer pressure, and every kind of pressure that is, having a negative vibe on an individual. I started writing a book titled, I started doing that last year. A book titled Systems of Advantage. It was going to discuss probably what you're saying, where people get to find out that you don't need to be this or that to be who you really need to be. What makes us value a certain set of people is not that they read so many books. It's not that they read so many, like we have the compendium of certain scriptures, works, books, and all that. We have all of them now. We have relative to them. We know we can relate to them, you know. But these are the people that made the stories. There are people who made the stories. What did they have to read to become? All right. There are people who, you know, made inventions, and their inventions now are what we're using to now, you know, study in school. This is what they did. What did they read when they were there? Okay, those early you know, founders and all of, did they get to study within the time when they didn't study what we have right now to study? But you see, what they were able to do was to tap into their uniqueness. They were all about who they are, and I felt that at that point there was an intensity of attention that was given to themselves. They didn't really have to go to school the way we did. They didn't really have to do this or that, try here and there. What they did was they sat with themselves. They told them more that they should, you know, maximize the power of meditation, the power of really looking in, and then they were more problem solving conscious. You know, they were there and they were like, we need fire. How do we make fire? How do we make heat? How do we do this? How do we? So they were the how kind of generation, where they really know that if they are not creating the problem is still a problem, and they are living with the problem. But in this case now, a lot of people are defining themselves from a system or a belonging, like a clique. So for us to be this, we are the ones who wired the whole house. We are the ones that, you know, did the bridge. We are the ones that we are the first, you know. So that the whole idea is that when you take the we out, who are you? All right, because when we turn the W to become the other way, it becomes me. So we're trying to see you in the we, because it is who you are that supports the team.
What's your contribution?
The uniqueness of you is what you bring to the table. Like for some people who are asking, what do you have to bring to the table? You don't have to say you bring in this or that. It is your uniqueness that you're bringing to the table. That's who you are. That's what this person is finding fascinating, that wants to make him want to go get married to you and all of those. It is your uniqueness. If he's having to deal with somebody else, then it's over a matter of time. Then he'll begin to discover that, man, I'm dealing with a version that I didn't really pay, or, you know, I didn't really look out for. Now, in this case, what makes people want to belong? It is a system of one, low self-esteem, then inadequate awareness, self-awareness,
information,
of themselves. And then, you know, when you put those two together, low self-esteem, inadequate awareness would definitely produce low self-esteem. All right. It brings you to that point where you look at yourself and you're like, no, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not as much as who I saw. So it brings comparison, unhealthy comparison. People begin to compare themselves, and they feel that if we don't beat them, we should join them. So in joining them, we are going to adapt based on what their definition is. Certain people have set, you know, certain standards for, you know, success, education, all of those. There are people you meet and they tell you that no, you have to be on this bar. Some other people, you have to be on this bar. So when you meet different set of people, they have a way of either tuning you to you or distuning you from you. Yes, they either tune you to you or distune you from you. A good guitar player is going to tune the guitar to give a good sound. And the right sound, not to his taste. He's tuning it right. Obtainable. All right. So he's tuning the guitar right, and that's what God said when He says, "Take a child, train him up in the way he should go." You're not going to tune the child to your taste. You're going to tune the child to the way that he should. Needs to go. So if we have a system of understanding, then you realize that you don't have any hold on anybody. Your hold on people shouldn't be on the fact that you're holding them to become more like you. You're holding them to be who they need to be. So if you are here listening and you're wondering, how do I you know, get off the whole loudness and noise of belonging, it is from separation. You have to do a lot of separation. Separate yourself through desire. A man having separated himself mingles and intermeddles with all forms of wisdom. Is what I get to understand a lot of time. So when I see that I'm beginning to conform. To conform means that, you know, I like alele. A lot of people know alele. So alele is moi moi. When you put it in that container, it conforms to the shape of that. But that was not the original state of that stuff. So that's what happens when people associate with certain people. They take the shape of something.
Other people.
Over time, you become that. And it will take somebody who really knows what form you really were before, or
I'll
the
tell
form
you,
that
you have
need to, like,
changed.
say, this is not you. You have changed. You are changing. That means that you are conforming to an image. You're conforming to a pattern because you are looking more like it. You're becoming more like it. And that's where confirmation. Then what you need to do to stop conforming is to transform. You need to get to a point where your transformation breaks you out of a particular conformation. I'm doing a lot of
see, you know, and it's very powerful to know your form.
Yes.
It will help you a lot. It will help us a lot if we know, if only we can just know who we originally are and what we should be doing. Now, the pressure sometimes does not even come from the outside.
Yes.
It might come from a family member who's telling you, you're worth more, you shouldn't be doing this. But you know that you have an assignment there. You know, that person cares about you. But the person keeps telling you, you should do pressure. That kind of, it looks like care sometimes. But sometimes it will pressurize you out of your form.
Yeah.
So that's why you need the awareness. So that you can discern if this is pressure, or you can discern if this is direction or motivation. You know, so you have to be aware of yourself. We'll take a short break, and when we get back, we will tell ourselves, or Bright will tell us, what are the things we need to do to be able to discover ourselves and then assume our uniqueness. Do not go anywhere. We definitely will be right back. That's right. It's starting to cause a lot of problem on the internet space. I'm sure you guys are following Twitter back to back. It's quite an amazing scene right there on the internet space, and it's 42 gone past 12. It's the nation's capital right here at Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and it is your radio experience you can count on. And right, guys, we are talking about your uniqueness. Understanding your uniqueness as a person, and I must say that this is an important thing, because a lot of things, having understanding of who you are as a person, you know, puts you in a very good place, so you don't feel inferior. You don't feel inferior when someone tells you you're not good enough. You're not mad at the person that they told you you're not good enough. You're just going to look at it. Is there a gap?
Constructive perspective.
Do you understand? You look at it from a constructive perspective, and it's important to evaluate yourself sometimes based on what people have said. So when you know that the person is just saying it from a place of content, you are okay. You move on. But again, if you don't know yourself, you feel depressed the whole week and the whole month because someone told you you're not good enough. Meanwhile, you are actually enough and you're good enough. So this is important. Now, Bright, how do we understand what our uniqueness is?
All right. Understanding your uniqueness would come from understanding the tools you have. We do not have our uniqueness outside our tools.
Okay.
Gifts are tools. Whatever that gives you an advantage, I keep saying it, these are tools. In another conversation I said that's currency for you. Now anything that gives you an advantage is your tool for whatever you're effecting, whatever kind of change that God is putting you in the world for. Now when you realize that this is who I am, and this is who I am becoming or have become, you are careful, you preserve that, you save it, because that's a mystery. It means that you're a mystery to a lot of other people. Okay? A lot of people do not know that you stand to be mysteries. We are all mysteries. It takes a lot of people, it takes someone with depth to uncover who you really are. That's why you hear statements like deep calling onto the deep. So it's not just everybody on the surface that can find you, because you are someone that should be dug out. Every treasure is not on the surface. Yes, every treasure or any treasure is not always on the surface. People have to do a little bit of some digging. They have to do some, dirty work to be able to dig out stuff. And that's what happens, because you are now finding yourself. When you're finding yourself, you understand that there is a lot of digging you're going to do. You have to seal off the environment and then find you as you. Why do we have to seal off places to build? It's because we don't want people saying, no, the way you put the light, you should have been the other side. The light we put the last time, this was not where we put the light. Our light should be here. The way you're putting that foundation, don't you think is going? There are a lot of conversations around people when you are exposing yourself. So sometimes people expose themselves prematurely. Don't worry, I'm going to answer your question. People expose themselves prematurely because they want to have validation. Okay, they want people to say, yeah,
you're doing something when you're actually not making progress.
And in that case, what you're supposed to do is to seal off yourself. When you see a lot of people having so much comments about you, it's because you're out there already, you're too exposed. And to help yourself get to a point where you can survive criticism or compliments or just people saying their comments and opinions, you must have found a way to define you. And the definition does not come from outside, it comes from within. Like I said, understand your giftings, understand what your purpose is. That's the first thing that helps you identify your uniqueness. What problem are you created to solve? So if I find out that this is the problem I'm created to solve, how many people are solving this problem? Who are the people in the forefront of solving this kind of problem that I'm created to solve, and how are they solving the same kind of problem? So what is that thing that I see that they are not able to do that I can do? That is now, so even a businessman will say, oh, that's your selling point. All right, now as an individual, that's also your selling point, because whatever they cannot do is what you can do, and what they cannot do, what you can do that they cannot do, makes you to be relevant. It makes you to have some level of value. So that's your credential. That's what people now see and say, oh, I want to deal with this person, I want to work with this person, I want to get this. We'll go all the way, we'll search and search and search and still not find, except we come down to where you are.
Of course.
So I was in a different city the other day, and I was like, can you imagine how life is? It's so amazing that if you're not, except people are listening to maybe your content via media or anything, if they cannot, it's just a limited set of people that are going to reach you, and the people that have to reach you are the people within the environment where you are. If somebody needs to reach you, that's if they want to really deal with you, they have to travel all the way to where you are. So that's how relevant you are. 7 billion people in the world, they cannot find you any other place except where you are. So that's the importance of you and the relevance that you bring to the table. That's how important an individual is. So you find yourself first by discovering what you're gifted in. What can I do? What am I so good at? What are those things that I know that I love to do? I can literally do them without, blinking twice or blinking anytime. What is that one thing that I know that once I have, if everything is put in place, people don't have to meet me twice to be blessed from what I have to do or what I have or to offer. That is what you're good at. That is your uniqueness. That is what defines your credibility. All right. So if you found that out, you begin to understand, when I serve this particular stuff, everybody has a point where you're serving your stuff for testing. When you're cooking a meal, someone says, excuse me, come and test. They beat the service, they beat it, and then the person tests it and they're like, oh, it's nice, it's good. But that may even be something you're serving to kings. Generally speaking. Generalities of people who test you, because at that point where you're not yet selling to kings, they find a way to see what is lacking. Oh, there's no salt, there's no pepper, this is not enough. And then they have the credibility of testing all of those things by different people, because you're still finding yourself. You're still in the position and the journey of discovery. So a lot of people are going to have comments, and you'll go, okay, maybe this is what it is. But understand that you already have a picture. It's in you to know what exactly you are. So when somebody says, oh, this is who I really am, or this is what I really am, it's easy for you to relate with that and say, oh yeah, this is more like it. So when somebody is saying something that you're not, imagine somebody say, Bright, is you? Oh, we shook our hands and what a good footballer. I'm like, oh yes,
because the guy doesn't play football. I
don't play football. So how are you saying I'm a footballer? But if they're like, oh, you make a good goalkeeper, I'm like, oh, that's a compliment, thank you. Because the height is there. So when you're like, oh, thanks, that feels like, oh, that would be nice. I'm glad that you consider that if I was in that position, I'll do this. Now that's a compliment. But when somebody says, oh, you make a good goalkeeper, and you're like, aha, maybe I should start
going
the
to
football.
exactly the point. You know,
And,
every compliment
becomes a mission.
A mission. And
So
an
people
idea.
want to like, maybe I should start going. So like, and you're on your way, you're like, no. Where are you going to? You know, you're not good for the football. You should go to the tennis point. And you're like, that's true. Maybe. Before you know, you've moved around and you don't have enough time to get to be.
It feels like you were here yesterday when we were having this conversation, because we talked about you're doing so many things and you're actually doing nothing. Your origin. See, just trust me when I tell you that if you know who exactly you are, if you know what you are, you will rest.
You'll rest.
So no matter how much noise people are making out there, you know what your assignment is.
Yeah.
You know where you're headed. It's just like football again. Every player, both the captain, the referee, everyone knows where the goalpost is, and that's the goal.
But let's use that same football as an instance. Now, not everybody is a midfielder.
Yes.
11 players. They are all distinctively different from every other person.
Yeah.
They are playing different wings, different trainings, or
it's one goal.
They are also in one pitch, and you know we have 22 players doing the same thing, doing they are chasing out the same ball, but from different positions. Okay, so in this world, we are all humans, footballers, all footballers playing for a particular team, but we're not playing from the same position.
Yeah.
There is a midfielder, there is a defensive midfielder, there is a goalkeeper, there is a line.
And if it's not there, the match does not go on. If the striker is not there, the match will not go on.
Do you understand?
If the referee is not there, the match will not go on because of his uniqueness, the uniqueness of his assignment on that pitch.
Good. So it is going to be an error and an abuse of purpose when we have a goalkeeper playing like a midfielder. That would be an abuse. So if the goalkeeper is playing the midfield, then where is the goalkeeper? We need a goalkeeper because the goalkeeper cannot be doing both at the same time. So you see, that's what a lot of people need to understand, that your uniqueness does not really shouldn't make you intimidated. It shouldn't make you less than. Now somebody, maybe you're in the pitch and then it's one person whose name is going all the way around and you're like, no, next year I'll go and play in that position. It's like it's in that position. People value people that famous. You know, people value people in that position. But you see, the problem with that is that you would have been a sergeant instead of being a general. Being a sergeant can be the best sergeant that the world has ever seen. But if you become a general instead of a sergeant, you may become the worst general that the world has ever seen. It means that I should be comfortable. What is contentment? Contentment means that I have found who I am and I'm content with the size of who I am.
And while I'm working to be more.
Now in this case, notice that if you're 1,000 and people are 10,000, be the best 1,000 anybody would have ever seen in this world. That is your uniqueness. So when they're saying let's go and see the best 1,000 in the whole world, it should be you. So it's not about I need to be 10,000 to be valuable, I need to be 10,000 to be relevant. I can be who I am. There was a picture that was taken of me. I was in the middle of the crowd and then the picture was taken and I could just spot myself. I could see me. Every other person was blood and I was like, this is life, man. This is, I was just like, this is
I can identify me.
You can find yourself in a crowd. You can be spotted out in a crowd, and that means that you are something unique.
And let me say something. A lot of us are unique, right? We have identified our uniqueness, but again, we don't have the courage to let the world see what our uniqueness is. See, if you see how the world works, if you don't, you have certain abilities, right? They will never agree to that.
Yes. The world necessarily does not agree to the fact that
you have to tell, you have to
convince them into
this is who I am, this is what you should know me as. And you see that all of a sudden somebody just woke up one day and called himself the giant of Africa as an artist. If you want to address him today, that's what I just watched the Grammys recently, or the Grammys just took place recently. That's what they called him, the giant of Africa. And guess what? He made them know he was the giant, not because of his music. Something happened, long story. Something happened at that time, and then he said he's a giant of Africa. They put his picture small on one banner like that, and he made that comment, and that had followed him for a very long time. So whether or not he's performing in his music as he used to, he's known as the giant of Africa, and that settles it. So you see that sometimes people will not give you the accolade that you deserve. Keep doing what you're doing until no one has the option to agree that this is who you are. That's what uniqueness is. The fact that I'm unique at what I do does not mean I should fold my arms and say I'm unique. The world will come to me because of my uniqueness. I need to let the world know what my abilities are. I need to let the world know that if you're dealing with me, this is what you're getting. Have you seen people who apply to organizations where there are no job vacancies? They just go there and point out the problem and say, see, I'm the one who will solve the problem for you.
If they don't have that, they have to create a space for them to come
in there. That's what happens. But if you're dormant or you become docile, you don't talk about what you can do, or you are pursuing a good cause, but you don't even let people know what you are on. How can they get into a vehicle when they don't even know where they're going? So it's important that we blow your trumpet as loud as possible, and I'm not even joking. We are in an era where just one tiny winning video goes out there and people know you for this, and because you are popular, they would rather work with someone who is popular than work with someone who actually even has the ability and is quiet about it.
True.
And that's why sometimes you see some makeup artists do some makeup on people's face and you're like, what is this? But you're right there. Nobody knows that you are of a greater value than that person because you are not out there. So I implore you, dear listeners, understand that you are unique in every capacity. And this is not even a motivational speech. This is not even a motivational speech whatsoever. There are people that you just like the way they talk. There are people I follow on Instagram just because I like how they explain things. Not because I have any personal interest in them, but because of how they explain what they explain. So I follow them on Instagram. There are people that I would buy from, not because I have such an urgent need of what they're selling, but because of how they sell it to me. So you are unique in your own way, in your capacity. If you have not found that out, this is your call to search within you and look for the things that are unique to you, what you are capable of doing. And I think we will be making headways to having a better 2024 and having a better life eventually. Thank you so much, Brad Young, for joining us in the studio. Till when again? Another 2 months.
Another time.
But right, guys, see you again. And thank you, Cheese, who was just right there, passively doing what she's doing. And I hope you did pick a thing or two. Cheese up. Did you?
I did.
Okay, so of course, and I hope you do, you listening out there also did pick something from the conversation we're having today, or we had. Thank you so much again. I'll see you in the next hour. It is no gray areas. A bit of fun over there. Please catch me right there. I definitely will be right back.
Your #1 hit music